Hey everyone, how are y'all doing? It's Katie here, the mountain mystic, coming to you once again from the mountains of Colorado. You can see this beautiful peak behind me. I'm hiking this evening up in this beautiful bowl somewhere here in the central mountains of Colorado. And I'm coming to you once again to bring you some practice, some earth embodiment practice, this practice that we get to do in this space where we get to connect in with self, mind, and body, and we get to go deeper. We get to connect in to this earth, this earthy embodiment practice, this practice that has become the core of what I teach as someone who is here to help us as a collective humanity, as a collective web of life on planet Earth, to heal, and speaking to healing as this process of remembering ourselves as connected. We live in a world where division, right, separation, isolation, hierarchy is what is loudest, is what is most prominent, what is taught most proudly. And, you know, there's space, there's time for that sort of thinking, but what is happening as we find ourselves in these wild, chaotic, dark, turbulent times is that, you know, what's happening is that humanity has swung the pendulum so far into the space of separation and isolation and disconnection and what we might call these masculine traits, right? This is why we speak to living in a patriarchy, because it's this masculine way of thinking, it's this masculine way of perceiving reality, right? Things as separate, things as disconnected, you know, this scientific process, right? Studying things in isolation. And again, not to hate on that way of thinking, because there's a place and time to do so. But when we live life too firmly in that space, then problems arise. And what we are experiencing right now in our world is problems, challenges, pain, darkness, suffering, rising in, you know, at such a magnitude, right? And this isn't to say that these problems are new, but that this way of being has gone on for so long, right? Hundreds, not thousands of years. And what we are experiencing now is that the earth can't hold it anymore. This collective web of life cannot hold it anymore. And because of that, humanity suffers. Because of that, our ecosystems suffer, right? And we see that. You know, this is the part where do I start listing off all the horrific things that are happening in our world, with species dying out, you know, ecological collapse, climate change, wars, disease, right? Mental health crisis. It's, again, nothing new, right? It's not that these are new problems, but it's that this way of being, again, this way of being where we are, you know, too firmly stuck in, again, what we can speak to these masculine ways of being, ways of thinking. We've been in this space for too long. And so what's happening is that all of these problems are getting louder and louder and louder. And that's what we're experiencing right now. That's what we're experiencing right now in this crazy, dark, turbulent world where it's kind of a daily thing right now, right? That one more horrific choice made by those in power appears, and the repercussions of it go deep, and it hurts, each of us, it hurts all of us. Of course it hurts certain people, certain parts of this planet more than others. But so the question is, how do we remedy all this? And there is a long list of ways that we can remedy this. There is a long list of ways that we need to be focused, working hard to, excuse me guys, let me get this ant off of me. Anyway, there's a long list of ways that we need to be on board taking action to work through these problems. And that's why I hold spaces like my embodied activism circle, right? So that you can sit in a space where you get to get clear for yourself on the ways that you can show up and make a difference in this world. Underneath all of that, right? Underneath all of that is a foundational shift in the way that we are as we move through this world, the way we think, the way we perceive, the way we sense, the way we feel, right? Again, this way we are in the world. I speak to these deep roots. I speak to these deep roots that are underlying all of it. And if we can't get down to the roots, right, the core of what is wrong in this world, then we're not going to be able to make the change that needs to happen right now. And in my opinion, my fiery opinion, change needs to happen, and it needs to start happening quickly. The earth cannot hold this way of being of humanity for much longer. We are experiencing that through increasing natural disasters. We are experiencing that through wars that are popping up again, and there is this fundamental shift that needs to happen at the root, at the core of each of our beings, so that when we walk through life, the way we relate to one another, the way we take in information, the way we make decisions, right? This is behavioral change, but this is so much deeper than behavioral change. This is the way you are as the human being that you are. Whew. All right, taking a moment to soak that one in. So let's do some practice. I hiked all the way out into this beautiful, beautiful space so that we can do some powerful earth embodiment practice. So let's do it with me. This is the practice, right? This is a version of the practice that I'm talking about. The type of practice that lets you go deep. That lets you go deep in connection to self, in connection to earth herself. Right? And then from this practice, then we get to expand outward and do all sorts of fun, creative, also focused, right, practical kinds of practices. Okay, here we go. So finding yourself preferably seated, but if not, standing. If you've been multitasking, this might be a good moment to disconnect from any other tasks you were doing and to focus your full attention here. And as you start to focus your full attention here, I invite you to bring your attention inward. So it might help to place a hand on your body, your chest, your belly. Starting to take deep breaths into self. Feeling into the three-dimensional expansion of your chest, your rib cage, right? Feeling into your chest, your side ribs, your back ribs as you inhale, expanding in 3 dimensions. Just letting your inhale flow naturally into your exhale. Then with your next breath, maybe you breathe a little bit deeper, maybe down into your diaphragm, feeling into that same three-dimensional expansion. In your diaphragm, solar plexus area. And then with your next breath, maybe you breathe a little bit deeper down into your abdomen. Feeling your belly rise as your abdomen expands in 3 dimensions. Breathing all the way through your lower back. And again, just letting your inhale flow naturally into your exhale. These are ease-filled breaths. These are grounding breaths. These are centering breaths as you ground and center within self. Just continuing these breaths. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start to descend a little bit deeper. So, right, I have this nice rock on this grass in this meadow that I get to tune into. Inviting you to tune into the ground beneath you. Feeling your feet on the floor, your seat in the chair. Breathing into your root in connection to the physical ground beneath you. Taking these deep, slow, conscious, grounding breaths into your root in connection to the ground beneath you. Continuing to breathe this root. And as you continue to breathe this rooted connection, going to take a little journey as we start to descend. As we start to descend down through these roots, down, if you're inside, down through the floorboards, down through the foundation, down into the dirt, the rock, the roots, the soil beneath you. Connecting in to the ground beneath you. Letting imagery come on board. What's down here in this earth? Is there dirt? Is there rocks? Is there roots, soil? Is there water down here? What is down here in this earth for you today? And giving this practice some time to unfold. So you allow this connection to unfold. Down in these roots, these deep roots, connecting you to ground, connecting you to earth. As you're here, you might take a moment to take a few intentional breaths into your heart space, allowing your heart to connect a little bit more fully with the ground beneath you, with Earth herself. Knowing that you are free to stay here as long as you'd like. You can hit that pause button if you want to hang out here. But for now, together, just inviting in any last thing to happen here, any gifting from the earth to you, of nourishment, of support, of anything else. In a moment, perhaps to gift her, the earth, by pouring your gratitude down through your heart, down through your roots, pouring your gratitude towards her. Then as you're ready, what we're going to do is we're going to start to rise back up, following those roots. As you come back into your root, your seat, your feet, in connection to the physical ground beneath you. Breathing into your physical body, feeling once more your breath in your abdomen and your chest. Breathing into your body. The last thing we're going to do here, as we sit here in this grounded space, is to expand our awareness, our consciousness outward. I get to expand mine out into this forest, out into this mountain range that I'm sitting in. but an invitation for you to start to expand outward into the room you're in, beyond the walls, to the community and or the ecosystem you find yourself in. Bringing your consciousness outward, expanding it outward as you sit here grounded, rooted, connecting outward with the land, the ecosystems, with the life around you, with this web of life that you are part of in this moment as you sit here grounded, rooted. We're going to start to close this practice here. And variations of this practice, we can continue to expand outward. I'll drop a link in this video to do a fuller practice. We can continue to expand outward and, do some more fun and powerful work in that particular practice. But for right now, I want to bring us back. So once again, bringing your breath back into your body. Feeling your seat to your feet in connection to the ground beneath you, breathing into your body. Maybe start to wiggle your body, roll your shoulders, wiggle your fingers, your toes. Look around the space you find yourself in. As you come back into your physical body, in the space you are seated in. Let's finish up this video with just a few more words about this practice. Again, this practice being one that I am teaching in abundance these days, right? I find myself recording variations of this practice daily, and every time I do it, it's a little bit different. So if that was your first time, let me know how that went for you. If you've been doing this over and over again with me, also let me know how that journey is unfolding for you. If you want to do this more, if you want to do this in a space that I find to be far more powerful, an invitation to join us in Circle. You can find out how to do that at upwardslopes.com/circle. It's a part of membership. You can learn more about that at upwardslopes.com/forest membership. Returning, I feel called to just return to this beautiful space that is holding us for this practice. I've been out here training for the 100-mile ultra running event that I'm going to run for a third time next month. And what that looks like is spending big days climbing 14ers, running long distances at high elevation. And I've been taking a few rest days before I get back out there. And in these rest days, I'm kind of checking in with society again. And what I'm witnessing is, horror, right? It's terror put upon humanity, put upon this earth by the decisions of those in power right now, those who clearly have no heart nor soul-centered connection to this planet. It is plain, it is obvious to see that, connection to heart, connection to soul, connection to earth does not exist. And because of that, the choices are purely self-centered, fear-based, and it's destroying the world as we know it. And that's not an understatement. It's not an understatement given these truly terrible times we find ourselves in. And I'm reminded that we elected this government. We as an American people voted this government in, and what that speaks to is a lack of discernment, of understanding, of seeing things clearly that goes deep, right? And this isn't a space for, us versus them, because these same problems, these same, rifts, the same wounds, the same programming runs through each and all of us to varying degrees. And because of that, what I teach is embodiment work. What I teach is a process of looking inward. Yes, there is work to do out there, and we hold space, such as our sacred activism circle, where we get to direct our attention outward. But if I've learned anything, it's that we can't direct our attention outward in the most skillful way unless we are also turning our attention inward and we are doing the important work within self. I think I'm going to close down there. This invitation to turn your gaze inward, to do the important work that needs to be done so that we can heal and otherwise resolve the wounds that are perpetuating such harm in this world, so that we can embody more light, so that we can bring more joy, deeper fulfillment into this life, so that we can feel more fully, more deeply connected, so that we can experience all the incredible beauty that this world has to offer us. Guys, this world is so beautiful. We have to protect it. We have to protect her. From the mountains to the forests, to the rivers, to the oceans, across humanity, we have to protect life on this earth. And it begins here with this sort of practice. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today, to be in practice, to be in conversation. It's again an invitation to hang out with me in other spaces, in circle and membership. Of course, make sure you're subscribed to my channel here if you haven't yet. Hit that like button, leave a comment, let me know what's going on for you. Big love to you, and I look forward to catching you next time.